Although things seemed like they were done for regarding the old Jedi Knight series, on February 25th, 2024, Night Dive released an ambitious remaster of the original Star Wars Dark Forces. The origins of Kyle Katarn brought back to the limelight while looking better, playing smoother, and offering availability to more audiences than ever before. Night Dive, being a studio known for handling a plethora of remasters and remakes of old classics, obviously had a lot of Star Wars fans excited about the prospect of an old-school Star Wars game renaissance. We've been seeing a lot of ports of old Star Wars games recently, and now we're getting polished remasters too? Some were skeptical, but I feel like most people were pretty confident that so long as the studio stayed true to the original game, polished up the graphics, and updated the optimization and compatibility, that it would be pretty hard to go wrong. So how did they handle the origin story of the expanded universe fan-favorite character, Kyle Katarn? Well, the first and most notable changes are a handful of serious quality of life improvements. We've got controller support, mappable keys, super high frame rates, and up to 4K resolution, all adjusted for widescreen to offer a beautiful trek across the game's various levels. Not to mention we can alter the FOV to our desired scale, but this can cause a few sprite side effects, though they're barely noticeable and only problematic at super high FOVs from what I saw. I recently played through the OG Dark Forces on mouse and keyboard, so I thought I'd mix things up this time and try it out on controller, and it works really well too. Thanks to mappable inputs and customizable thumbstick sensitivity settings, the controller is a smooth gameplay experience. One made even better by a specific new addition that works way better than I would have expected. The devs went above and beyond by including a weapon wheel, which makes swapping to the weapon you want on a controller a significantly more optimized task. I almost couldn't believe they bothered doing this, but I am seriously glad they did. By the time you've got all the weapons in the game, this weapon wheel feels like a more fun and intuitive way of swapping weapons than pressing keys, though I'm sure some min-maxers would disagree with me. Of course, arguably, the largest and most noticeable upgrade on offer here is the cutscenes. These gorgeous sequences have been pretty much remade from scratch, with ship sections looking 3D modeled and pre-rendered, and the stylistic animated sections being totally redrawn. This isn't AI upscaling or anything. Night Dive bothered to touch this up the old-fashioned human way. It's a bit jarring to go from the gorgeous 3D modeled ships into the hand-drawn animated parts, but I got over it pretty quick. Honestly, I'm so thankful they gave this much time and energy to these cutscenes because these are the only involvement Vader has across the entire Jedi Knight series in any way. So I'm glad we get to see him be included in the Jedi Knight series in this beautiful HD resolution. Not to mention, the moldy crow has never looked better. Speaking of, everything looks better now. They touched up pretty much all of the sprites across the entire game, and it all looks so good. If you really want to just play the classic game, then you can toggle off the enhanced sprites, but honestly, I feel like the updated sprite work is a total improvement on the game in every single way. The rifles, the enemies, the environments, everything. It all looks fantastic. As for the gameplay itself, it's pretty much the same, but with quite a bit of polish and refining. Although the original was a groundbreaking title for its time, trying to play it now can prove to be a pretty rough experience. There are mods that can tune it up to run more akin to how you'd expect a modern game to run, but in its vanilla state, Dark Forces is not the most satisfying game to play. Even booting it up is a frustration due to it being designed to run on MS-DOS, so a lot of people are turned off by the whole experience before they even get to the game itself. The little annoyances and grievances that would otherwise hold the game back from modern audiences have pretty much been resolved in totality with this remaster. The menu is updated, modern, and runs without issue. Adjusting options is easy and accessible, and getting into the game has never been easier. Everything controls and responds exactly how you'd expect, and does so without issue. The one area that I really feel Night Dive missed the mark on was the music. Though they have the option to toggle between different versions of the original music, both sound pretty terrible. This was fun for the original experience, of course, but if you're going to bother doing all of this work to make everything in the game look and run more like a modern gaming experience, why wouldn't you just update the music? I mean, sure, the use of the MIDI makes it all feel more authentic, but the existence of a weapon wheel sure as hell doesn't. Plus, there's already a toggleable feature between two styles of music. Why not just include a third option for a remastered Dark Forces score that doesn't sound like it's off time so often? I've heard some people say that they prefer the MIDI music, and they're glad this was the route Night Dive took, so there's a lot left to personal preference on this one, but I was hoping for an updated score myself. It's really difficult for me to call this a criticism because the fact that they skipped over a potential improvement does not equate to a negative execution. So I think it's more just a lamentable missed opportunity because I actually really like the Dark Forces soundtrack and would have loved to hear a professionally remade score for this game. Not only did we not get that, but for some reason, the game's default state starts the music volume at 100% and everything else at like 75 or 80. It was even drowning some of the dialogue in the cutscenes. I had to go turn it down. Again, the music that we got here isn't bad or anything, but the MIDI elements about it just feel a bit dated in a way that could have been resolved here. If the studio does decide to pursue a Dark Forces 2 remaster, I'm really hoping they try to implement some kind of original soundtrack or something. I'm sure it would be way easier to just throw the movie music in there like the original game did, but I'd love to see an original, brand new OST for that one by an imaginative composer who could take inspiration from the music of both the films and this Dark Forces entry. We'll see. Overall though, Night Dive really nailed just about everything with this project. It looks great, it feels great, and most importantly, it's available on a multitude of different platforms and consoles. This is a great chance for people who otherwise wouldn't have experienced this brilliant expanded universe legend to hop in and try it out for themselves on their PlayStations 4 and 5, their Xbox Ones, X's and S's, and even on their Nintendo Switches. Which is easily my favorite part about this package. The fact that a whole swath of new people who love Star Wars but missed this game can now finally try it out for themselves. Oh yeah, and they even bothered to grab the original game's vertical slice tech demo set on a Star Destroyer called Avenger and let players go experience it, which is a phenomenal bit of additional content for players to enjoy that we previously did not get to try out despite it showing up in the promo material. And it's a fun level too, packed with way more enemies than I saw in any of the regular levels. Night Dive's remaster of Dark Forces is a great product, there's no doubt about that. The original Dark Forces was already a brilliant little relic, but getting it running in a way that's palatable for modern consumption required the work of mods and a gaming PC, not to mention console players were just out of luck if they wanted to try it. With the multiple quality of life improvements like the weapon wheel, frame rate, 4K support, and more, Night Dive has more than earned the praise they're receiving for their work on this title. That being said, we do need to talk about the price tag. Is this game really worth $30? This game is nearly 30 years old and is easily completable in under 8 hours. This has been the topic of some mild controversy, believe it or not. I've seen some people saying this game is well worth the $30 it's asking for, and others saying the price tag is too high for what's on offer since the OG game is only $5 and the Force Engine mod to compete with this is free. My thoughts on the record are this. When you spend $30 on this remake, you send a message to everyone involved with the Star Wars IP that there is money to be made in remaking old Star Wars games. That we would rather buy a 30-year-old game for $30 than anything else out in half-finished states with microtransactions, season passes, and lackluster stories. So I would encourage you to reframe your lens a little and suggest that you're not just buying a Dark Forces remake, but rather you're investing in a monetary petition for more expanded universe remakes, like Dark Forces 2, Shadows of the Empire, Rogue Squadron, and who knows what else. Just keep that in mind when you think about where your money is going and what you want executives to see bringing in profit. If you're excited to get started or relive the epic journey that is the Jedi Knight series, then this Night Dive Dark Forces remaster has my official recommendation as the place to start. Thanks for watching, everyone. I actually got to stream a lot of my playthrough of the Dark Forces remaster here on the channel and hang with you guys while I played, so that was a ton of fun. I'm planning on trying to stream more often, and typically run it on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, so keep an eye out for that and come hang out with me. Have you played the remaster? What are your thoughts if so? Let me know down in the comments. Also, remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel if you love coverage and retrospectives on old games. I do a ton of Star Wars and shooter stuff here, so you'll probably be right at home. Thanks again, everyone, for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. But until then, that's all I've got for you.